But in this particular case, what had happened was the pump failed. There was oil in the effluent in the water in the tank and whatnot. We had to get it pumped. But the reason that it failed is because the wiring to our control panel from the Duwamish condos where their breaker is failed, one of the legs. In other words, it's 240 volts there, and so one of those legs failed. The pump was trying to operate on 120, and it just burned up. So anyway, the issue is that typically we are responsible from the tank to the street. In this particular case, the power is fed from a circuit breaker, a separate breaker that we don't have access to unless somebody is there inside the condos. It's actually inside their entryway, and it says sewer controls in there. So we accessed that and figured out that was the problem because there is a separate breaker with our control panels out by the sewer pump station there, but that is fed from a breaker inside the condos, and that's what failed. Was the wiring between the breaker inside the condos and our control box had failed, and so we had RC Worst kind of jury rig something together until we get this resolved. What they did is there's a separate circuit for the alarm system in there. And so what they did was they took the 120 volt off of that alarm system, combined it with the one that goes to the pump so that it's operating for now. But they do not have an alarm system right now until that wiring gets replaced. And what that'll take is they'll have to go from the breaker panel inside the condo and then take it outside the condos and use like a ditch witch to bury it in the dirt all the way up to our control box. So if we take the position that we are responsible from the street to the tank, then this is actually up to the condo association and their responsibility to get this replaced. And I think we discussed this at the last meeting, but because it was not an action item, we couldn't take any action on this.
Right. And I believe that Field kind of outlined a letter to Jesse that we should write to them that basically said, it's your responsibility, and we've replaced that pump once because of the faulty wiring, and we're not going to do it again. And so I think we should just go back, Jesse, and listen to the recording because Field pretty much outlined a response.
Now, in terms of their response, what I'm anticipating is they actually, right next to our septic tank, took a tree out because we tell them, there's roots getting in there, and we still need to get some of them out. But we said, you know what, you're going to be responsible if things go haywire on this because of a root system. And so they immediately, or actually very quickly, got that tree taken out. We still need to deal with the roots, but the point was they were more than compliant to say, yes, we need to get this taken care of. So that's a good sign that they're willing to work.
That's a good sign, yeah. Yeah.
That was a big tree, by the way. That was not a cheap job to get that thing down.
Before we go any farther, I don't recall Calvin calling the meeting to order or any.
Sorry.
Agreeing to the agenda.
Yeah. Well, Jesse started out, but yeah. So we'll call it was the 22nd today. It was 10 o'clock meeting. We'll call it to order. And all in favor of the current agenda?
Aye.
Well,
actually,
we have to make a motion to approve.
I move that we approve the agenda.
There you go.
I second.
Okay, and then all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There we go.
There we go.
Thanks, Larry. Good
Start over again, Bob.
Well, I have a question for Bob real quick. So anything outside the district, say if they're in Kootenai County itself, and they have a lift pump in their house because some houses are just the way they're positioned, who's in charge of that lift pump at a private residence outside of the district in the county?
They would be, if it's outside of in charge of the lift pump? Well, the homeowner ultimately is, but Panhandle Health District has jurisdiction over what goes on with septic tanks, lift stations, and things like that that's outside of our district.
Right, but do they have the same criteria they're putting us under?